Calgary Foothills.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thought today the Minister is going to talk about Bill 1, but he was talking about the budget. So I would like to, Mr. Speaker, I would like to read off two sentences to the House, one from Bill 1 and other one from the piece of legislation that governs a minister's duties. First, a minister may establish or operate any programs. And second, the minister may establish programs that focus on supporting working people. Working people, Mr. Speaker. Now, I'm not sure if anyone here thinks there is a difference between these two sentences. But for those who think there is a difference, I want to know who thinks the difference is so great that taxpayers' money needs to be spent in order to issue legislation that defines this difference. The first sentence I read out is from the Government Organization Act, which details the duties of all ministers. The second sentence is from Bill 1. One says the minister can establish programs that support working people, while the other says a minister can establish any program relating to his or her portfolio. I'm quite sure the word any in reference to a program includes programs that support working people. In fact, why does this bill not support the non-working people? Shouldn't this government be concerned about getting people who are unemployed back to work? I can understand that supporting working people is important, but when I talk to people in my riding and when they ask what this government is doing to get people back to work, then what am I supposed to tell them? Am I to tell them that this government is passing a bill that is helping those who are already working and just ask them to wait for their turn? Am I supposed to tell them that the first bill this government passed in a time of economic crisis is to help those who have jobs instead of those who do not have jobs? Let me go back and read these two sentences again. A minister may establish any program, and a minister may establish programs that focus on supporting working people. Since there is almost no difference between Section 2 of the Bill 1 and the Government Organization Act, I was going to submit an amendment. For my first amendment, I was going to propose the removal of the Section 2 due to repeating established legislation. But then I read a little further into Bill 1 and saw this sentence. The minister may establish any panels or committees the minister considers necessary to provide advice. And I thought this sentence also looked very similar to Section 7(1) of the Government Organization Act, which reads, the minister may establish any panels or committees the minister considers necessary or desirable to act in an advisory or administrative capacity. Both say the minister can create panels and committees to help advise the minister. Other than a few wording changes in the definition of advice, there are no new powers granted by this section to this minister. I wanted to propose amendments that remove all sections that are already stated in the Government Organization Act. Here is the issue I ran into with this bill. Not only is Section 2 copied from this Act, but so is Section 5 and Section 3. The problem is that removing the sections of this bill that are very similar to sections in the Government Organization Act would take out so many sections that the amendments were out of order. And to me, this says a lot about the substance or lack of substance of Bill 1. He's running away. I could be way off base, and the minister really did not know what he was already allowed to do, what is listed in this bill. So I dug around a little bit more and found something the minister published with his signature on it that has almost identical in wording to Bill 1. Less than a week ago, we received the budget, and in the budget, we had the estimates. And in these estimates was the minister's portfolio, which had desired outcomes of his ministry. In fact, Bill 1, Section 2, Part B, is written out on page 27, line 1A of the minister's estimates. And Part C is on page 27, line 1.4, and page 28, line 2.2. Part G is on page 28. Line 2.2 and 2.3. These are just the parts that are identical. In the previous budget, these phrases are similarly repeated. I could explain how parts A and E are similar to his estimates, but I'm sure the minister knows they are very similar. Then, if we go to the budget overview, page 4, we see the minister handing out money. Actions fulfilling Part B and C are already in motion. So how is this possible if Bill 1 has not passed unless the minister had these powers already? So not only does the legislation exist that is identical to this bill, but there are 2 documents signed by the minister and 2 signed by the premier that are almost identical to this bill. Last month, I simply asked the minister in this House, line by line, if he had the powers listed in Bill 1. I asked the minister if he had the powers listed in Section 2, the ability to create partnerships that support entrepreneurship and help businesses to grow and succeed. The minister's response startled me. He said, I quote, absolutely. Why did the minister put forward this bill when he knows full well he has the powers listed in it already? I thought maybe he only knew that he only had some powers, not all. Quoting Bill 1, I asked if the minister had the power to help working people upgrade their skills, secure employment, and increase the development and production of Alberta innovations. I expected him to say that he did not have the ability to do any of these, and that's why he created Bill 1. But the minister said that he absolutely has the powers and abilities listed in Bill 1. My question is, why this government is wasting our time with the legislation that outlines powers the minister already has? Why is this government not focused on creating jobs instead of writing out and voting on minister's job description? I'm not against the powers of the Minister of Economic Development and Trade. These powers need to be used for creating jobs and making Alberta stronger. I'm not saying that these powers or any minister's powers should be stripped from them. What I'm saying is that I'm against wasting the legislature's time by outlining a minister's existing powers in the form of a bill. I am against this bill for the fact that nothing new will be accomplished through passing this bill. The province finds itself in a very severe situation today with devastating job losses and serious economic downturn. The people of Alberta need real solutions, not a statement of intent. I hope that the minister will have more to add to what he has been published so far to encourage jobs creation. But unfortunately, I'm not holding my breath, and I will not be supporting this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.